At the beginning of the pandemic, I started a show called The Social Distance Show, and I interviewed people every single day. I absolutely loved it, but eventually people started paying me more and more to host and produce shows for them, and I stopped having the time to book guests and interview people. Then in January, I got on this app called Clubhouse, and I met all of these wonderful, interesting people, and I thought, I need to do that again. I need to recreate that, and I need to have quick conversations with really interesting people. So here it is, the 5-minute show. It's going to come out every single Friday, both as a podcast and on this YouTube channel. I hope you enjoy it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 5-minute show. My name is Ben Barber. I am your host for this show. It is very simple. It's quick conversations with interesting people. That is the premise of the show. It's going to be short blasts of conversations with some really wonderful people that's going to make you wanting more and wanting to know more about them. Today is the first episode of this rebrand of the 5-minute show, and I'm so happy to be talking to a good friend of mine, a mentor, whether he knows it or not, and the wonderful leader of so much mischief and mayhem, Brian Chin. Brian,
That's so
welcome
good
to
to
the
see you.
5-minute show.
Thank you. I'm honored to be your returning guest on this episodic mischief and mayhem. It's great.
Thank you. All right, so the 5 minutes starts now. You are currently a creative director at Vaynermedia in New York City. How long have you been in marketing?
Last 15 years, I would say. I went to ad school to get into the advertising marketing business back when social media was just kind of starting up and it wasn't really that much of a thing. But so funny, right? I think as we're paving our own courses and journeys and careers, you take so many different little twists and turns along the way. And every little step is like a micro evolution into where you're ultimately going to end up. 15 years later, I have no idea what 15 years from now is going to bring. But all that is to say, right, when just given the pace of how quickly the world and culture and digital trends change, like I had no idea I was going to be in the ad game with a social digital first mentality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. When I went to ad school, it was just about, okay, cool, do a cool print ad, some TV scripts, maybe some like digital-esque ideas and some out of home. But yeah, it's been quite a fun journey.
Yeah, the last 15 years has really changed the entire landscape of everything that you do.
Yeah, no doubt.
And being at Vayner, you're right in the center of it, pushing that pulse all the time, which is very cool. One thing that first, before we get off of marketing, I just want to say, like, what got you into it in the first place? Why did you go to ad school?
In college, I went to Boston University for my undergrad. And in college, my freshman year, I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do. I thought maybe I wanted to pursue some sort of business degree or get into the School of Management, but it wasn't very focused. Serendipity happened. My freshman year roommate was in the advertising program, and he would come home every day after class and just rave about iconic ad campaigns of the past. Nike obviously was one that came up quite a bit, and that was kind of the light switch moment. I was like, oh my gosh, I can combine a lot of my creative love and passions and story expression into something that has more of a commercial sensibility that can also impact culture at large. And I thought that was a very cool thing. So yeah, serendipity happened, and I met my freshman year roommate who got me into it.
That's amazing. One of the things being in the field of marketing, especially with social and digital leading the way, is that you're always constantly trying out new social apps, which is how you and I met. So
Yeah, no doubt.
you and I met on Clubhouse, which was really picking up steam at the beginning of this year, especially with everybody in the winter being locked down, and we had a lot of fun. But the thing that Clubhouse was meant like as a networking app, and we sort of did that, but in a very strange way, led by your direction, with mischief and mayhem and improv games and all of these wonderful things that I'd love to talk about at length that we just don't have time in 5 minutes. But the thing that immediately endeared me to you was your obsessive love of marshmallows and your pranks. So can you tell us a little bit about why you love marshmallows and your pranks that you play at people at the office?
Yeah, I've always been very drawn to novelty things, and I think marshmallows are just one of those very whimsical, silly things that happens to exist in our lifetime that is both delicious and just looks funny. And when you throw it on a hard surface, it makes a sound unlike any other thing on earth. Like it's like a small pillow. It's the funniest thing. So stupid things like that have always entertained me. And I would start going around the office at Vaynermedia, planting regular sized marshmallows on unsuspecting workers, people that I manage most of the time. And I would tap them on the shoulder and I'd be like, "Hey, why is there a marshmallow on your shoulder?" And they would look over because they were like, deep in thought and focus, working as they're supposed to be doing. I'm like, what the heck? How did that? Just like freaking out, and just the looks on people's faces always got me. So it just became a thing. One of my little, I guess you could say, signature devices, the marshmallow.
Um, you are you are one of the most fascinating people that I've ever met, and I love talking to you so much. And you've made 2021 filled with so much joy for me and all of the other members of the Marshmallow Club.
Thank
Um,
you.
and I want to say that you have this habit of posting. You're also a musician, and you have this habit of posting these drum videos and encouraging people to stay hydrated and like and they're just the best reels and TikToks ever. Why like just a brief 30 seconds or so on your love for music and everything whimsical because it could just be straightforward songs, but you make everything
Yeah.
hilarious.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that, Ben. Love for music began around the age of 15. I wanted to learn how to play the guitar, and so my parents were awesome enough to get me an electric guitar. Shortly thereafter, I wanted to learn how to play the bass, so I got a bass and then drums. And so music was a big part of my kind of early teens onward, as far as a creative expression. And I would say, since I haven't been writing music for a while, not having like a full kit in a New York apartment, the best I can do is just kind of rock out a little bit on a silent drum pad. So I started doing that a few years ago and playing along to songs on TikTok, and all the extra kind of shenanigans with the flair and the theatrics. I mean, that's just a combination of all my childhood drumming heroes growing up. Josh Freese, like Adrian Young, Travis Barker, kind of some of the usual suspects when it comes to that kind of punk alternative scene. But yeah, they were always very great showmen, right? So I think a visual flair is just a lot of fun. And so I try to incorporate that with a little bit of hydration shenanigans, one arm drumming.
um we didn't even get into the fact that you're a wonderfully talented photographer and so many other things because we only have 5 minutes. This is what I'm saying. This show is quick conversations with interesting people, and they don't get more interesting than the enigmatic Brian Chin. Uh, my friend, you are always a pleasure to talk to. I'm going to create a longer
Thank
form
you.
podcast that I need you to be a guest on because I could talk to you for hours, and I have.
That'd be fun.
Uh, yes. So, is there anything that you want to leave people with? Um, words of advice. Do you have any? Actually, you know what? Do you have any advice for me as somebody who just started a marketing company? In Rhode Island, do you have any advice for me, my mentor, whether you want to be or not?
I would say the fact that you've gotten started on your own is a big step that a lot of people don't have the courage to take. So I would just say keep taking courageous little steps. Um, a lot of times we feel like we're outside our comfort zone. But one theory, or maybe not theory, but just sort of one mindset that I've been using a lot lately and sharing with other people in my circle is that there's this idea of being on the fringe of what is familiar to you, and that everything is connected to something in the past that you've already done that's kind of similar, just a little bit different. So you have a foundational anchor in, let's marketing, right? This marketing company you're starting, it's new to you, but there's a foundational anchor you've already established doing podcasts, networking and being an entrepreneur with freelance and contract-based clients, right? Those are all things that would be a lot more scary uh, if you were doing a marketing company and you didn't have any of that prior context, but it's like you have all that context. And so you're just taking a little bit of an extra step further on the fringes of what is familiar, but it's not outside. It's not completely outside of what is familiar. It's just kind of on the peripheral. And so there's still that kind of connection point, right? It's like this thing is connected to the last, connected to the last, connected to the last. So that's what I like to think about. Everything is connected to things you're familiar with already, just in a different framework sometimes.
Thank you so much, Brian. And I'm sure that I'll be hitting you up for advice, whether whether you've said that that's okay or not. You are a wonderful friend, and I appreciate it. And obviously, it's been a little bit more than 5 minutes, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben. Always a pleasure. Good to see you.
You too. All right, guys, you can find Brian. All of the links to all of Brian's social is going to be down there. He is a wonderful human being from the future. And speaking of the future, I will see you next Friday for another 5-minute show. Thanks.